You're watching What Women Want with Revati Priya on Glow TV. You're watching What Women Want with Revati Priya on Glow TV. Today we welcome to our panel Theshan Naicker, better known as Auntie Sheila, as well as Malaika Khan, founder of the Bridal Shower Express. We also welcome back Daniela Simone Keisha and Farida Jalal. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me on my show today. Welcome Malaika and Theshan for joining our panel from this week onwards. How has COVID been treating you all?
Thank you for having us. COVID has been interesting. I think it helped us reflect on our lives. It helped us stay at home and understand what's really important. Business-wise, it's been difficult, but we're just glad to be here, be well. Yeah, it's good.
Yes, I am definitely excited to be out and seeing some familiar faces. And yeah, just to be out the house and just get back to business.
I guess everyone needs to get out of the house and get back to a routine and somewhat of a normal life, right?
Absolutely.
So this week we welcome Malaika and Theshan to our panel. In our previous interviews, I've asked Daniela and Farida to share with us at what point did they realize or discover that they were gay and wanted to follow this path in life. So, Theshan and Malaika, could you share with us and elaborate on at what point in your lives did you discover? Theshan?
For me, look, I think with each person it's different, but for me it was a natural, organic feeling. There wasn't a point where I realized, because to me it was just how I felt. I think it was the external noise where I know growing up that I have to like girls, but hold on, I'm not feeling that. There's obviously it's not at that point at a tender young age sexualized, but there's a feeling towards who my attraction is. So for me it wasn't a realization. I believe I was this is who I am and I was born this way. It was natural, it was organic. Coming out was a different story. I think that was the choice I made to speak my truth, but it was never realization.
Okay.
Yes, I can remember far back as when I was 5 years old. I remember my mum had purchased cars for me to play with. And I just looked at them and thinking, what am I supposed to do with these things? And I remember pushing one car and it reached one of her heels and I put her heels on. And I remember feeling an absolute joy and elation. And I knew then that I was somewhat different because I knew this is not supposed to be. And growing up, obviously, I definitely picked up on other things that were different to other young boys. But I enjoyed myself so much. So yeah.
So, speaking about your mom buying you cars, and how did your immediate family and close friends react when you shared with them that this is the path you're going to be following and this is you?
I suppose for me it was, when I was young as well, I used to wear my mum's clothes and walk around the neighborhood.
And how did she react?
She used to be furious, but that never stopped me. So I suppose I gave everybody fair warning. So when I finally did come out, it was, oh yeah, we knew. So it wasn't that of a bad experience for me.
I think for me, here's the interesting thing. My mom worked in a profession at hospital where she was dealing and counseling people, and she understood the whole idea about being gay. I think she also was aware that I was different in terms of my mannerisms, etc., compared to my cousins, etc.
She probably picked up.
She may have picked up, but that wasn't her reality. She just thought I was a gentle guy.
Okay.
And so for me, coming out was difficult. I came out first to my mom on I know the date, the time, I know it's like the entire house prepared itself. You could hear a pin drop. And when I spoke to her and I told her, I couldn't use the word, by the way, I couldn't use the word gay. I couldn't say I'm gay because you grow up hearing so much of negative connotations attached to the word gay. So I told my mom, Ma, I don't think I like girls. That was how I came out to her. And her experience was she cried. And she always explains to me, it wasn't that I didn't accept you being gay, it was the death of my dream. I dreamt when you were born, I dreamt you were going to have this big wedding, you were going to have this beautiful girl. And she says, now I had to mourn the loss of not having my grandchildren. And she had to learn a new dream. It wasn't easy for her. She cried, she became ill, even though she knew about all of this. She didn't want to accept it as not her son. It could be anyone else's son, but her reality was not her son. But few years down the line, she's just ever so comfortable. It's a learning experience, basically.
So with the process of going up to setting up the meeting with your parents, I mean, those were the first people you would share with, right? How did you set up those meetings with them? What was the process?
For me, going back to what Theshan said, I had befriended a lot of people, even the neighbors in my neighborhood. And lots of them would encourage me and applaud me on wearing my mom's clothes. But at the same time, as long as it's not my son. So that's definitely something that definitely came across. In terms of coming out to my mom, I don't think I planned it. I did the whole girlfriend thing for about 3 years. And I was absolutely miserable. I wanted to just change her clothes all the time. So I suppose I reached that point where I just blurted it out to her. And I remember she was washing dishes, and she just stopped washing the dishes and went to her bed with those hands, soapy hands. And then the next day, she just looked at me and then she just gave me a hug. And obviously it's not an easy process.
It took some time.
It took some time. But now she's my biggest supporter.
That's amazing. And Theshan?
I don't think it can ever be planned. Like you, so when I first came out to my mom, I never had friends. I wanted to deny the whole thing. And when I came out, I was 18, and it was my first year at psychology, and we were amongst a group of students, and because in that environment, people are open. So the lady said to me, one of my fellow colleagues now said to me, so are you with a partner? Do you have a boyfriend? It shocked me. It stopped me in my tracks because I was trying to conceal being gay, but there it was, everybody else knew. And at that point, I'll never forget that it was that conversation that kept playing in my head. And like you said, in university, I had this idea, okay, now I'm 18, I needed to have a girlfriend. So I got very close, like you. I liked how she dressed, I liked how she looked. And there came a point where she said, okay, so what are we doing about this? And I think she almost came close to me. I got that shock, what's going to happen here? And that's when I really realized, no, this is not for me. This doesn't feel authentic to me. And one Sunday, I just literally my mom was sitting on the bed, and the words of that young lady, so you're living with your partner, I realized it's no more a secret. And the first person I wanted to tell was my mom. And I just said it to her, Mom, you're the closest person to me, and I needed to say it to you. And the truth is, she didn't accept it well, because I went through through every family. The next day, my mom first went to her father. We didn't sleep the entire night. 5 o'clock in the morning, she drove to her father. My grandfather was extremely wonderful. He says, this is his truth, accept it. But my mother then phoned aunties and uncles, and let me tell you, I went through a process where I was sent to a temple where this lady said, put my picture there for 16 days. I had to pray to become straight. And I kept asking myself, what will this new Theshan be? Trust me, 16 days later, I still like boys. It wasn't an easy process. And here's the thing, it's not about education or anything else. It's just what a mother wants for a son.
You're saying that a mother wants for a son. I think it's the mindset.
Yeah.
It's the
And I'm
mindset
guessing
of the
also
Indian people.
in an Indian family,
Correct.
it's very different.
Very.
There's a stigma attached to it. My son is gay, and it's some sort, I wouldn't say embarrassment, but when they go out in public, they don't know how to react
Yes,
at the beginning.
My dad, he obviously knows that I'm out. He's attended my wedding and so forth. But up till this day, if someone asks him, like, who are these two? And he's like, no, that's my son and his partner. But he wouldn't say they married or gay. And I don't want to push him because I know he's an alpha male. And I know he loves me. I know he accepts me. And that's okay.
You're lucky with that. My father doesn't talk to me. It's 34 years now.
Sure.
And then you have my parents who literally go about telling my whole story to everyone. Before I can tell anyone I'm gay, they're like, by the way, my son is gay and this is what he's doing. So they've actually embraced it to a point where they're so proud of it. So it's again, they never knew what being gay was. It was something new. When they learned how normal it actually was, they feel nothing is wrong. It's all a process of educating yourself and understanding the lifestyle.
No, but Theshan, as much as you're saying it's all about education, I agree with you to an extent. But in some cases, like for me, for instance,
Yes.
never. I was disinherited. I was kicked out of the family. 34 years going today that we don't speak. You can be in this part of the room,
Yeah.
and I'm in that part of the room. You can walk past me.
Yeah, I guess, again, different journeys. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be taking a short break and we'll catch you back soon.
Hello and welcome to Celtic's Gateway Fresh Stop.
Welcome back to watching What Women Want with Revati Priya on Glow TV. Welcome back. And so let's get back into our discussion for today. So please mind my terminology that I'm using, you can correct me. We're sharing a lot more about the LGBTQ community. And could you share with our viewers and go more in depth and elaborate and tell us what is a drag queen actually? Is it the same as being gay or is there any difference? So Malaika, could you share, or Farida?
You go, Fred.
Okay, I strongly believe a drag queen is, for me personally, I'm a drag queen. I love dressing in drag. For my whole life, for the past 2 decades, I'm in drag every day. So when it came to my secondary level education, I went to school in female's uniform, which I was sent back home. At that given time, I said, I want to be the voice for drag people. I was very feminine in school, and that was a stepping stone. Although I was bullied a lot, I had the worst secondary years of my life, but I stood tall, and I believe this is who I am. I'm not going to change for anybody. I took the education department on. I fought my battle, I won it. My prom year, I was able to walk in as a drag queen in my prom.
Wow,
That's amazing.
Malaika?
I definitely see drag as an art form, an illusion, a fantasy. I mean, that's the medium I use it as. I've loved dressing up from the time I was 5, as I said before. And it just gives me so much of joy. I remember I used to perform in my room to Sri Devi songs. I love Bollywood. If anyone asks me what is the reason for me being a drag queen, it's Sri Devi. She's responsible for everything. And when I now stand on stage, or whether I'm at one of my bridal showers or baby showers performing, I just think that I'm still in my room. It's just that the audience has grown bigger. So, yeah.
So, going back to the question, is gay and being gay and being a drag queen, is it the same or?
Drag can be done by anybody, so it's not necessarily a gay person. A lady can do drag, a straight guy could do drag, because as I said, it's an illusion, it's an art form that you create. And if you go around, there's so many different versions and types of drag queens.
Yeah.
You get comedy drag queens, you get the look drag queens, you get the mummy drag queens. I think I'm nearing that phase very soon. But yeah, it's so many different facets and so many different types. And that's the beauty about it. So anybody can.
I think it also at this point it's important to say, drag shouldn't necessarily be associated with gay, because I know for a fact the circle I'm around, there are gay guys who are extremely, in every way possible, masculine, in the sense that they love sport, they love just engaging in very masculine forms of activity. The only difference is that when it comes to who they're attracted to, it's on a sexual level, they are homosexual. So I feel like, there's different, under the umbrella of the LGBTQ community, there's so many different levels and degrees of how people choose to express themselves. I strongly believe the drag queens is a beautiful art form, and doesn't necessarily, because I know amongst some of my friends, and this is honest, they don't identify, they don't understand the whole dressing up and stuff for them, which I respect, because when I did Auntie Sheila, they didn't understand it, and they were, okay, now what you doing? Yeah, because they felt I'm not representing the gay community properly or as they wish to see it. So again, you've got to respect everyone, because everybody has their own beliefs.
I think I totally agree with you, Theshan, because like I said when we were chatting during the break, it's the time difference.
I
You got
suppose.
your 80s gay LGBTQ people that have this way of thinking. You got your 90s, and now we're going to the 21st century. Do you understand? The battles then are
Right.
not your battles now.
Yeah.
So it changed with time. And because of the battles we had then, we still sheltered. Why you think we look up to people like Malaika, or we look up to people like Theshan? Because what they're doing now, Farida and I couldn't do when we were growing up. We had to fight, we had to do marches, we had to get people involved in what we're doing. So that is why anybody asks me, hey, what you looking at? I'm looking at Auntie Sheila. And if you look at my Facebook or social media, I'm sharing Malaika stuff, I'm sharing Theshan stuff. It's not because I'm sharing it because they're gay, just because of that. It's that they're talented gay people. Do you understand?
Yes.
And we should be, in our generation, we're proud of them because they came out. We never came out. We had to go through that whole battle of fighting and fighting and fighting. And now that we're not fighting anymore and we're trying to live normally, we can't live normally because we still closed. When we do this, I'm going to get beaten up again. Is somebody going to put up Morphe on a chat? Like I was recently on radio, and somebody said to me to pour petrol on myself and light me.
Wow.
So you understand? And then I go back to we called.
Because of those comments.
Because of those comments. And when you called me, I was reluctant to do this. You know, as much as we've done so much, Theshan came to a function last year. He didn't know who we were. He didn't know what we did. Malaika knows for about 10 years, she knows. But Theshan had to go back, probably did his research like you, did your research to find out what we've done.
Yeah, well, if I didn't attend any of your events, I would never have known that there's platforms like this.
Do you understand? So, on one side of the fence, we have people that will carry the gay flag. And on one side of the fence, yes, we'll carry the gay flag, but we're still scared to take a step forward.
Because you
Right.
come from that
Mm.
generation.
You understand?
And to touch on what Daniela said, I mean, now if you look at the gay individuals and drag queens, if you go onto Facebook, almost everyone's a drag queen now. And that's because of all the hard work that was done before. So, yeah, it's an amazing time to
Definitely,
be-
it's those generations that paved the way and made it easier for us, like we now are doing it, and make it even more easier
Yeah.
for the
Next
youngsters.
generation. So, when dressed in drag and you're at a function in public, what are some of the reactions that you get?
Well, I think coming from an old school, I've been a very old school girl, and I think I've paved the way over 2 decades. And I think in society now, with our so-called Indians, they have come accustomed, because I think I've built a name for myself over the years, like with the DSK group. DSK group has given me the biggest platform, national and international, and they have allowed me to express myself in a free and democratic country. For me being that person, I think society as a whole at this given time can reckon with this phase. Like sharing older generations, sharing a stage with Malaika, it has been a privilege. And even for me as a older drag queen, I'm very proud of these up and coming drag queens, because they have done a lot. They're paving the way for people moving forward. And I think society where I come from slowly is learning to accept. With me, I do not have problems because I'm a well-known face, but up and coming drag queens have the problem.
Malaika, what are some of the reactions that you get?
In the beginning, it was not so smooth as it is now. Obviously, over the years, with the stuff that I've done, people now respect me. And I'm in the business of making people happy. That's my goal. And I always believe that what you put into the universe is what you'll receive. And for me, that's the relationship with people that I have been experiencing so far. I mean, there's always going to be people who don't like you or have something to say. But what other people think of you is none of your business.
Absolutely. So, with not all reactions being positive, I'm sure that you do get some people skinnering under their breath or laughing at you as you walk past or whatever it may be. How do you deal with the negatives that come after an event or show that you are doing?
I suppose there's not much you can do. You know, people are always going to fear what they don't understand. That's where it comes from, actually. It's a fear of the unknown. And I think we all, on our various platforms, are just trying to create awareness and educate the public as far as we can. But other than that, I think the responsibility is upon them.
So, do you see a more positive change coming from the public in regards to how they accept and perceive gay people, drag queens?
I absolutely, from my point of view, I believe that social media has helped. Stories on DSTV, on TV, help us to understand that people. The more people educate themselves, the more they realize that the gay lifestyle is nothing different from any other lifestyle. We still have the same issues. I mean, I have a home, I have to work, I have to pay my taxes, I have to take care of my family. And I think the more society, you see, it was the ignorance. Society didn't understand. They thought it was some elaborate, sexualized lifestyle. But now, with more information coming out, people are seeing that ultimately we are human. Not gay, not bi, whatever the case, we are human, and we are on a human journey, a human experience. And I think with that understanding, I see lots of positive growth. The kids that I've counseled in my time, their experience of being gay is very different from mine, because now people are definitely more accepting. And our generations are going to be the more accepting parents when their child comes forward. Their experience of accepting a gay child is going to be totally different from my mom's experience. So definitely I pray that there's an easier life for everybody else coming out.
That's great to know that there are very much more people accepting and supporting the gay community. So, Thank you all for joining me on the show this week. We're going to continue with our show next week, and I'm pretty much sure that our viewers cannot wait to catch up with us again next week. So thank you for watching What Women Want with Revati Priya on Glow TV.
I'm gonna love you when there's no one around. I will protect you, lift your feet off the you when there's no one around. I will protect you, lift your feet off the ground.
Today's show is sponsored by DSK Group, wishing you all a very happy Pride Month.